When my girl's got the sweetest pussy, nestles in her lap, be the first to admit and wanna stroke that kitten, fell right into her trap.
Welcome to
SinCityBounty.com. Sorry, that was
weak. Since we're not together, it's like we're totally out of sync.
We are totally out of sync.
But you're all adorable about this, so that's good.
Thank you, David. So as you see, there are 4 screens, and we have a special guest in with us today. David Brabham is a local homeless advocate. He's a caseworker, and he's a longtime friend of ours. He's been on our show before. I believe we've seen his penis. I can't remember off the top of my head.
Hey, leave the penis alone.
But we learned some news this morning, this week. He shared some news with us. So we wanted to, we asked if he was willing to come on the show, and he is. So tell us what's going on with you, David.
Okay, sorry. I guess got caught off guard by the penis thing. So
you do
as you
remember
know,
what kind of show we are, don't you?
I do remember the last time I was there, we talked about other things involving my penis before, and let's start off with that. No, so here it is. As you know, I am an advocate. I have an amazing job. My official title is I'm a chronic homeless case manager for a shelter here in Las Vegas. And what happened was that we've all been tested. I've been tested now 3 times. The first time I got tested, since when COVID started, I was tested negative, which was good, but I kept dreading that I was going to test positive. I knew it because it's what I do. Anyway, 2 weeks ago, the health department came out and they tested all of us, over 100 people, and I was one of the unfortunate ones, to test positive. My results came back last Wednesday, and it's been weird because. Obviously, I don't have the major symptoms. Like I don't have the fever, but I do have the chills. I do have the body aches. I do, and it feels like it's like I call COVID I call it flu on steroids, because that's what it really is. But the problem with it is that you can't take anything. Like you can. I'm sorry. You can take the NyQuil and the Dayquil and the Vicks and all that stuff. But it doesn't affect it as much as if you did have the regular flu, or you had a regular cold. You can't go outside. That's the other part of it. You're quarantined, so it messes with you mentally. If I didn't have a major support system to drop off food, and if I didn't, I've literally had so many people, reach out to me, and it's amazing because I give a damn. I care about people, and so it comes back on you. So right now I just did a 3rd test this past Saturday. An agency called Ready Responders came out and tested me. They're gonna come. They're gonna give my results, I think, tomorrow or Thursday. God willing, it's negative. If it's positive, I just have to stay inside till I get a negative test. Long after you get it, it stays with you. Unfortunately, the body aches. The sense of smell, the taste buds. Friends have told me that it'll stay with you for a while. So. I'm alive. I'm not 6 feet under, so my outlook is this way. I'm dealing with it. I'm not jumping up and down about it. I've made a lot of jokes about it, but I'm here. That's all I can do.
One of the things. So I've been keeping up. You've been putting out daily videos.
Yeah.
Small, short, 10 minutes or less videos.
Yep.
And I think I watched the very first one. Well, I've seen most of them, but it was the very first one after you found out that you had tested positive. And I think you had been in your home for a day, and someone had brought you some food, and you talked about how scared you were, and you didn't know what to do. You had no idea what you're supposed to do now. Being locked up in the home.
It's scary. That part is, because again, it goes back to what I said. It messes with you mentally. You can be sick physically, but when you hear that over 140,000 people are dead from this, or you hear 3.8 million people have the virus, it affects you. it affects you to a point where you. I mean, during the course of like today is Tuesday, the course of my day, I've cried, I've been angry, I've been upset, I've laughed a lot. You go through all these different emotional things, and then you're also having body aches. You're also coughing. You're feeling like crap, and and like my mom made a joke the other day. I told my mom, I said, Mom, there's something in my body, and I don't know what it is. And she's like, Well, go up your ass and get it out, okay? And so, but that's how it feels. Like there's some foreign substances in my body, and fortunately for me, I'm not one of the 141,000 people who are dead from this in this country. I'm fortunate, but it doesn't mean that I'm thrilled, because I'm not thrilled at all. I mean, I can look out my window, but I miss, like, I'm technically quarantined till the end of the week, and with or without getting with or without getting the test. But I'm not gonna go out of my house till my test comes, because they'll come back to me and test me again if this test comes back positive. They'll come back to me because I have good insurance. So, but it's emotional. Trust me, it's not a good feeling to know that at any moment I can get sick. So, and really sick. I mean, so.
Now, David, you're a homeless advocate.
That's right.
Okay, so they tested you at work, like they came to the site and tested
the health
everyone?
department. Yeah, the health department came to us and tested me. Tested a lot of us actually. So, and it's unfortunate. I mean, listen, it's the luck of the draw. Not all of us are gonna. I mean, eventually, I hate to say it this way, everyone's gonna have one form of it or not if they haven't had it already. Back in December and January, I think it was December or January, I was sick. I had a little bit of the flu. A lot of the team had the flu. That was COVID, probably. We don't want it. We don't know it for a fact, but I think I had COVID back then. I think that it doesn't matter what job I do. I mean, you could be a bus driver and get COVID. You could be, working at 7-Eleven or Walgreens or Walmart and get COVID. That's what's scary about it. It affects anyone and everyone. Doesn't matter if you have a lot of money. Doesn't matter if you're poor. Being a homeless advocate is the most powerful thing I can do to help people. I've helped so many people since COVID started. I've been up under so many people who had COVID or possibility of having pre-existing conditions to get them to possibly have COVID, and I've been lucky, but my luck ran out.
Right.
So I mean, I'm dealing with it. I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's trust me. When you look at the walls every day since like last Wednesday afternoon, I love my apartment, but not this much. Okay, well let me tell you, if you are trying to protect yourself, can I curse? Wear the fucking mask, okay? Wash your fucking hands. That's what I would tell people. But once you get it, and again, I don't know what it's like to be in the hospital in a respirator. I don't know what that's like, and hopefully I won't know what that's like. But I will tell people, isolation is scary shit. So you have to find things to do. I mean, like I said, I'm fortunate that I have a lot of friends. I have people who will drop off food to me, even though I don't need it. They'll still. I have more Ben and Jerry's ice cream in my refrigerator, my freezer, than I really need to. Just because I said I like Ben and Jerry's ice cream. But what it is that I would tell people that you make sure find an activity. If you haven't meditated, meditate. If you haven't, watch a movie that you haven't seen. I mean, I have Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, and I think and YouTube. So be prepared that sometimes you're gonna have nightmares. I've had my nightmares the last 5 or 6 days. I've been scared shitless because every time you hear the numbers are going up, it scares you. It scares you the fuck. I mean, it makes you. You question yourself. Is this the time I'm gonna really get it? Yes, I've had the headaches and, like I said, the chills and the body aches, but I haven't had it compared to other people. And maybe I'm blessed, and I hope to God that I'm still blessed. But compared to other people, I mean, this is scary. And I try to tell people, and I got into a Kobo group on Facebook, and I posted a thing or two, and I've read a lot of their postings, and just people who are losing family members and friends and coworkers, that touches you, because even though I know I have it, I'm blessed that I'm not as sick as some others. So I would tell people, just keep the faith, reach out to your support system. There's a lot of people out there who will care. There's a lot of people who don't care because there are all these conspiracy things, but there are people who do care. I'm fortunate.
I'm glad you were able to find a COVID discussion group that you could get together with. Are you looking at other resources? Was this a resource given to you, or did you?
I had looked at other things way before I got diagnosed. I wanted to be prepared. I mean, if you see my page, I'm all about uplifting people. So this is all coming back to me. All the love that I've given out to people, I appreciate that they're giving it back to me, and I'm going to continue. But if anything, like giving people, like coming on this, even though you're talking about my penis, even though coming on this, it's still important to me. I love helping people, as anyone knows me knows. I love caring about people, and I can't stop that. So I'm going to give anyone's love. If friends of mine are struggling with it, listen, I don't know the answers for all this. I'm just a guy who's one of 3.8 million people. So I'm just one of those guys now, and one of those women now, and one of those family members and brothers and sisters and cousins and neighbors and coworkers. I'm just one of those 3.8 million people now. And I understand that now. I don't have to love it. Trust me. I'm crossing my fingers tomorrow that when I call them about my test, that it says negative. But if it says positive, I just continue what I'm doing now, which is saying I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. I'm not sleeping well. I have to force myself to eat all the time. I've had more bad food in the past 5 or 6 days. I've had chicken constantly. I mean, I'm a chicken junkie, so I've had 4 or 5 different types of chicken. I'm eating, but I'm forcing myself to eat because you have to. You have to always make sure that you're drinking something, whether it's juice or water or etc. You have to keep being hydrated. I want to be outside. I'm not a guy that likes to be inside too many days. I've been inside, except for walking to my porch. I've been inside really since Wednesday morning when I left work and came here. That's a week. I know some people have been quarantined for 2 and 3 weeks at a time. I couldn't do it. It would drive me insane. It's driving me insane now. I look out my window and I'm like, I want to go outside like a big kid. I want to go outside. I can't go outside now. Like you want to call your mother and say, Mom, can I go outside now?
Do you live in an apartment or a home?
I live in an apartment.
An apartment. So even if you go out onto your patio or your porch or whatever.
Well, I can. I mean, listen, I know I can do that. Like I took the dog. We went to the porch before a friend of mine came and got my dog this morning. Took my dog for a walk. I just what it is for me inside myself is that I'm aware that I have COVID now, and listen. If my neighbors got to know what's going on, because the nurse that came and saw me on Saturday to test me came upstairs, and I live on the second floor. Got out of her car, walked around my building and the whole hospital gown and the mask, and walked in my apartment. So I mean, I don't care whether anyone knows I have it. I just don't want to. I'm glad that I have it now, so I don't have to worry about having it, because you're going to get it. We're all going to get it, and I've checked into things, and they say, well, yeah, you can go to your porch as long as you wear a mask. Okay, that's fine. But I want to be able to walk down the street to 7-Eleven right now. Even though I don't need anything. I want to be able to be active again. That part you miss when you're stuck inside and you can't go anywhere, and you're so afraid that you're gonna mentally. Again, I'm glad I have a lot of support, because mentally this would fuck me up. This would drive me insane if I didn't have the support, because I want to be able to be active. I want to go back. My job is important to me. My job, helping homeless people in the city of Las Vegas, is as important to me as anything I've ever done in my life. I've helped a lot of people get housing and jobs, and I missed it already. And if it was a regular vacation, it'd be different. But this is not a vacation for me. This is me being in my house, and I can't help anybody. I looked out my back window.
The positive is that, not that you have it, but that it came now, only because in Las Vegas, because of a lot of different things going on, the town being shut down for an extended period, we're about to hit a lot of evictions coming up.
Yep.
I think you're going to get a lot busier.
Oh, it's going to get crazy.
With the homeless population. It's
will.
going to drastically increase, and luckily you'll be up and healthy and, you know, and prepared to go when that happens, because it's going to happen.
Well, what's really sad about that, and you mentioned the evictions, is that I think the city opened up too fast. I think that all these folks who are coming here on the strip and having a good time right now, they're taking it home to other people, you know, and we really, truly, you know, don't need to be open right now. We don't need to have the strip open right now because, again, we're still in phase one. You know, people said, well, you know, all the conspiracy things, when it gets hot in Vegas, it's going to go away. Hell no, it's here and it's worse than ever before. So I'm glad that, you know, like I said, I mean, on one hand, it's good that I got it and I'm going to get it. It's going to be okay. On the other hand, I know that there are going to be people who I'm going to be around who are going to have it. You know what I mean? I mean, I know I'm going to be around people who are really suffering. And unfortunately, when you talk about evictions in this town, it's going to be hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people are going to get, because some fools didn't save their money. All this money that was given out with this extra $600 in unemployment, some folks didn't pay their rent.
That's people tend to forget. Not everybody got that money.
Yeah,
when
right.
You're waiting.
That's right.
You know, there's a lot of different things going on. Not everybody's
right.
exactly sitting there.
I agree.
On that $600.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that. I mean, I think that, but there's also a situation where, like, I think the city of North Las Vegas put together some grants for people who are going to get evicted. So that's a good thing. So they'll be able to access that money. The city of Las Vegas will do the same thing. So people will have access. So there will be evictions. Hopefully there won't be as many evictions. I hope to God that we don't end up with homelessness, because the one thing the city lacks is shelter for women and children and men who have children who don't have women. That's what's lacking in this town. And so the men will be easy. The men we can place easy. We can find they'll come into any shelter. But women and children, and that's what breaks my heart. The men never affects me. They don't affect me at all. Male homelessness doesn't affect me. What affects me is women and children that affect me. Okay, and those are the ones that I'm worried about, who are going to be evicted out of their apartments or their houses, and who are, especially in this time period where we're dealing with this virus, and you know, or the kids having to go back to school. Hopefully they don't go back to school. You know, so that's going to affect there, and it's going to be more and more people. We've been predicting this, so.
Once you recover, David, and get better and are able to go back and do the fabulous job that you do, please still be careful, because so far what we know is just because you're infected doesn't make you immune from being reinfected.
Exactly right. And you know, and I'm aware enough in myself to know that I signed up for this years ago. I signed up to work in this field. I love what I do. I care about the population. Did I wake up in early January and say, hey, we're all going to get COVID? The answer is no. But this is where it is right now. And so going back into my office next week, if I think I'm going to go back in, if I'm tested negative, I'll go back into work on Monday. You know, you can't take life for granted. And I'm fortunate that my job is paying me. I'm home and I'm still getting paid compared to other people who are not getting paid at all, who are being you know, evicted and having layoffs and furloughed. And so I'm really fortunate. But you know, when I go back in, I'm gonna have the same precautions that I had before. Gloves. We can't leave our offices without gloves, without a mask on. Okay, we can't walk around our campus without our mask on. And so having those things are important. I could have gotten it in the lift car. I could have gotten it at the 7-Eleven. There are thousands of places that I could have gotten COVID in. So I don't necessarily want to blame it on the job per se, but I also am aware enough to know that I have to continue, like we all do. We all have to continue to wear the damn mask, to wash your hands, to be aware that your fellow person next to you, you have to actually make sure they're good. Your neighbor, your friends, your family. That's one of the reasons. Yes.
No, that was going to be my next question, is you've had some time to sit and think and contemplate and go over things for a few days now. I know that you mentioned a few places that you could have gotten it, but is there content? Have you been in contact with contact tracers to see where you may have gotten it, or?
No, because the one thing about when they say about contact tracers, when you are like I take Lyft every day, like twice a day, okay, and the health department wants like my job wanted to know, and the health department wanted to know about my job, but when it comes to like the extra activities, they're not really focused on that right now. They're just wanting to make sure that they can keep it down by educating people, you know. I mean, that's what's really going to stop this is education for everybody, and also being aware that you can't go into the casino right now. I don't care if the casinos have they test you and whatever. Don't leave the casinos alone. I hate to say it that way, but we pretty much should just work and come home, right now, till we're able to get a handle on this COVID virus. Because again, I could have been standing at 7-Eleven 6 feet away from somebody, got a little bit closer to them, or they got a little bit close to me, and bam, that's what happened. I could have gotten into a Lyft car, and the guy, who knows who was in the car before me, So I've accepted that part to understand that instead of losing my mind and tearing my hair out saying, where'd I get it? 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 I just have to accept, and I have accepted, that this is what I have. Okay? My head hurts. My body hurts. I have it. I'll deal with it. God willing, cross my fingers. I'm not, like I said, I'm not in the hospital compared to a lot of folks. And I'm not dead compared to a lot of folks. So there's a certain blessing to that.
I think the importance of the contact tracing really helps not so much you to determine like where we're finding it, where to spin around in your head like where did this happen, but if it happened more, I think the purpose of it is so then they know they can kind of tie it in, and those individuals aren't going out, like not everybody gets tested at work.
That's true.
So those individuals who may have also caught it from the same place you did are just out there living their life. Like that, if it happened in a Lyft, that Lyft driver could have been driving 10 more people that day.
And I agree with that.
It's you know what it is. It's just.
And that part, I will tell you that I agree with that part, because and the reason I say I agree, because for me, I have to look at it is that if I rack my brain too much, I'll lose my brain. So I really have put it into, it's probably my job. It's probably 7-Eleven.
Right.
That kind of thing. Because if I start to research where I've been, or who I've walked next to, or whatever, like my coworkers who I'm up under all the time, of all the team that I work with, I'm the only one that was tested positive. Even though we were in the same spaces all the time. Now doesn't mean they won't get it. Doesn't mean that they haven't had it, but it's like it'll drive you insane to know that you could have been here.
It sort of means that there's a bit of chance that you get them.
Right.
I mean, if no one else had it and they're testing and you're all tested regularly, then...
Well, that's the thing. We need to be tested regularly. I think that's where, like, I'm glad this agency, Ready Responders, came out and tested me, came to my house and tested me. I think while we're dealing with this and like you mentioned, being where I am and going to different places, it's important. Like I'm planning on getting tested on a regular basis from this point on. With or without the job situation, I want to make sure that I'm good, because I don't want to eventually develop underlying health conditions. I'm fortunate on that level that I don't have diabetes or other things. So getting tested and being aware of where I am is very powerful to me right now. And knowing that my team is good and I'm good and we're all good, I suffer through this every day, and it can be. It's no fun. I know that it's not a picnic in the park, So.
Well, I'm glad your personal outlook, with us especially, is very optimistic, and you're pushing through, and you're doing what you need to, and you can't wait to go back to work. I'm glad it hasn't gotten to you mentally.
But see, the thing is, it has gotten to me in a way. My mental health. If I didn't have support, if I didn't have friends, if I didn't have family, if I didn't have my mom making jokes at me, if I didn't have my daughter calling me, if I didn't have my brother calling me today, or other people, or the people on Facebook and Instagram, it would get to me because your walls start to close in. So I'm one of the lucky ones who have the support system in place compared to other people who don't have any support, and that's sad. So that's why I want to be a vessel to help people from this point on, and still go into the Kobo groups and talk to people, because I want people to feel like they're not alone. And I think, none of us want to be alone. Like, my first thought was that I'm going to end up like a zombie. I swear. I woke up Thursday morning and said, okay, I'm a zombie now. And of course I'm not, but that's where it messes with your mental health. You start to worry that you're going to be like they're going to put you in some kind of fenced in yard, and you're the Kobo people, and that's where you're going to stay now. It messes with your mind in that way.
And just to throw out for anybody else, and I don't know if there are resources that were provided to you through your work or whatever, but there's actually a lot of offline therapy resources.
Yep.
So if somebody is feeling be out of sorts during isolation, there are online therapists,
and they're good therapists
from the safety and comfort of your home.
And there's some good therapists out there. My job has a person that I was able to talk to, and she was able to. She works with an agency, and I called her up and I had a nice conversation with her, and that's where the support comes in, because as anyone knows, depression and suicide, those things are prevalent in a regular day. On a regular day, it's even worse now when you feel isolated. And it's sad that there are people out there who don't have support. And I tell people all the time, please get the help. Talk to someone, talk to a family member, talk to a therapist, talk to a friend, because we're all in this together. This is not just me or anybody else. This is everyone that's going through it in one way or another. Even folks who don't have it are dealing with it, and then it can mess up your mental health. Even if you test negative, it can mess up your mental health, because you're going to find someone else who has it, or you're worried that you see the person next to you doesn't wear a mask, so you're going to be, oh my God, I'm going to get it because he's not wearing a mask. We all worry about those things. So I educate and I tell people to please talk to people, get some help. I'm getting help.
So definitely start to continue feeling better, and that you got good results back.
Well, we'll find out. I'm crossing my fingers, but again, I've resigned myself to understand that if I get a test result back tomorrow and it says positive, and I keep moving forward, and I'm hoping that my health stays the same, and that I'm not as sick as some others, and I hope that people who are sick are getting healthier, and just keep the train moving, because I don't have any other choice. I can't pull my hair out and go, woe is me, every minute of my day. I have my moments when I cry, and then people reach out to me. I have my moments when I'm angry, and people reach out to me. I have my moments when I wake up at 2 and 3 in the morning and I'm freaking alone, and I can suffer those moments. But I don't have any other choice but to just say to myself, you got this, okay? You got this. And every day when I post in the live blog that I've been doing every day, I'm not doing it because I have to. I'm doing it because I really embrace the fact that I want to help people. Like I've been doing. If I can't help people in my office right now, I have to find another way to have another outlet to help people. This is my other outlet. Unfortunately, I'm sick, but fortunately, I'm not dead. Fortunately, I don't have any underlying conditions. Fortunately, I do have the support and the friends and the family, and I've been miserable. I mean, my mom has been sick, and I haven't been able to go to Philadelphia to see her at all because of this. So it does mess with your mind. But then you have to just say, okay, I got this. And I keep saying it when I'm feeling lousy and crappy, and I'm sneezing and my head is hurting and I'm feeling like garbage. I say, I got this. And somehow I pull through. Like I would do with anything. Life is too short, So that's where I am right now with it, guys. I mean, I'm just a person just trying to stay healthy, and help as many people as I can and continue helping. I mean, you know, this should be. It's just a horrible thing that we're dealing with. I just hope that I'm here and the other folks are going to be here, and a lot of programs out there for people who are trying to get help. And I think that's important. Long after this phase one, we're going to deal with phase two. We're going to deal with phase three. People are doing vaccinations right now, or developing vaccinations right now. I hope that those things work. I do. It's about educating people right now, though.
Which seems to be really hard to do. But let's get a little lighter and let's talk about your penis.
Hey!
Or a little darker.
Or a little darker.
Oh, good Lord, ladies!
Only
What
if
about
you
my
want
penis?
to,
Do
David.
Well, you see,
do you guys? Okay,
look,
listen.
here's my penis.
Well, that's a beautiful penis.
I'm just using it as a bounce over to a new subject that has to do with your penis and our vajayjays. Maybe together, maybe not. Sierra wanted to talk about.
What would you like to know?
Foreplay.
So my boyfriend asked me recently to define what foreplay, my version of foreplay, what gets me going. I'm struggling with some things, and he's trying to help me with them because he's super supportive, and that's the way he is. And so, he's like, well, define foreplay. And I was like, well, I don't know. And he was like, well, think about it. Like, what is it that you need to get you in the mood? And I thought about it, and I'm like, I really don't know. In my last relationship, I basically did what he needed to do to get him in the mood. And eventually I'd get there, but I mean, it was never, nothing was ever, not nothing. Occasionally things would be done at my request, always grudgingly. But I really don't know how, like, when I picture foreplay in my mind, it's a complete blank. So I wanted to get everybody's opinion on what foreplay is. Like, how do you define foreplay? What do you do for foreplay? Now, Toxie, we already know all he needs to do is open the taco bag for you, and that's enough. But
That's pretty simple.
But I need some ideas because I'm like, I don't know what foreplay is.
Are you asking about getting in the mood for foreplay? Because I can give you that from a man's standpoint.
Yes.
Okay, from a man's standpoint, you and this is how I feel about it. Is like you have to set the mood, okay? And the mood could be bending you over at the kitchen table and touching you. Okay, that's a mood. But mood can also be romantic with candles and soft music too. So it depends on what he feels like you are going to enjoy. And if he's smart, he experiments with it and finds out.
Well, what about for you as a man? What is it that you would want your partner to do as foreplay, as the precursor to sex, or even the foreplay to foreplay?
Well, I hope my mom doesn't pay attention to this because I don't need my mom knowing this. I really don't need my mother to know about these things.
It's okay. My mom is watching. That's good enough.
Well, guess what? I'm 52 years old and I'm already starting to blush now. But geez, I thought I had Kobo. Anyway, okay. Mood is touch. There's nothing like touching a beautiful woman and knowing that you want to be the best lover she ever had in her life. Okay? That is special. So touching her from her head to her toes.
So I need to become a beautiful woman.
You're
Got
so
that.
romantic, David. Can't you just get down to the nitty gritty?
Okay, here it comes. Okay. Listen, if you're not sexual for me, I can't date you. Number one. Okay. If I'm not getting it every day, I can't be with you. If I'm not getting something in return and getting something out of it, I'm not happy with it. Okay. I cannot date a prudish woman. I've tried. It doesn't work.
Wait, hold on. You need to be fucked every single day?
Yes.
Oh, so you and I couldn't date.
Listen. Okay, as a man, if it's good, you want it all the time.
It was a cricket moment. Everybody was like,
why not? What's wrong with that today?
we don't have the stamina for every single
Oh,
day.
well, then you have to start eating your Wheaties. Eat the Wheaties.
You're gonna need a girl that goes to the gym.
Okay.
Listen,
No.
when I get home from my 9 to 5, I'm so exhausted most of the time that I fall asleep masturbating. I can't, like, it's one of the biggest problems we had in my last relationship. I'm so tired all the time because I work so much
A man
that
can put you in the mood.
sometimes all I want to do is be held and go to sleep.
Okay, but let him touch you doesn't mean that it has to be like on a sort of pure sexual level. I think foreplay is not necessarily foreplay and then intercourse. It could be just foreplay the whole night by him touching you and holding you. Okay, that could be just as much foreplay to me. Okay, because it's showing you that, hey, I care about you. You've had a hard day. Let
Right.
me rub your shoulders.
But
That's
for
foreplay to me too.
but for you, does that foreplay always have to end with sex?
No, not really. Although I want it all the time. Listen, let's face it. I'm 52 years old right now. My stamina is okay right now. But when I'm 60, I'm not going to have any stamina. I'm going to be like, taking Viagra or something. But touching is still very powerful to me. Yes, I want to have great sex every day. Have I dated a woman recently that's going to give it to me every day? Heck no. But I would love it.
Hmm.
But at the same time, if you're not in the mood, you're not in the mood. If someone says, "Hey, I'm just not in the mood," I mean, maybe she just wants to be touched and held. That's great. To me, that's just as much sexual or erotic energy to me. And maybe I speak differently than other men because I don't feel like the intercourse is the greatest thing in the world to me.
Well, you
The
certainly
beginning
think
and the-
different from my ex.
Well, the beginning and the end is the greatest thing in the world to me. If you don't know how to touch a woman to begin something, and you don't know how to touch her at the end of something, then what's the point of it? Anyone can go fuck. That's easy. Whether you have a penis or a vagina or whatever, that's easy for people. But if you don't know how to really, truly make love to your woman by touching her to a point where she feels it deep in her heart and her soul, then what's the point?
All right.
You might as
So
well
as romantic as you are, David, and as much as all the girls who are going to watch this video are going to swoon and now
No,
look
they're
at
not.
your girlfriend,
They're gonna be like, that black man got Kovo. We don't want him.
the definition of foreplay, the word "for" means before intercourse, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So for me, it does start with touching. You're absolutely right, though. The touch, and then how I would react to the touch would be the onset of foreplay. And then you have your specifics, things like hand jobs or blow jobs or cunnilingus or me. I love heavy petting, the kissing and the necking and that stuff. That gets me so in the mood. It's not even funny. I could live without the blowjobs and the cunnilingus, although the great to have, the heavy petting is what really gets me.
See, I like that.
I just want to jump in really fast and say, David, I feel like great moment. Your mom would be so proud.
Also because I'm trying to keep this G-rated. You're the ones that are all talking about, I'm trying to be nice about this stuff. I'm not
This
using the word.
show is on the internet for a reason, David.
Yeah.
but
They're never going to put us on the O Network. Never.
Let me share some love with you, all of you. Let me share some love. The last time I was on your show, which is about 4 or 5 years ago now, and I was on there, and the next thing I know, we're talking about penis measurements or something, and I remember your other co-host, who's no longer with you guys anymore, she was really at it with me. Who was that?
We know who it
Sweet
was.
Cheeks. Sweet Cheeks.
Yeah, it was Sweet Cheeks. It was actually her. Well, it's been years since I've seen her. But I remember saying to myself, okay, I got this. I'm good. So I'm trying to keep this G-rated because I can keep it X-rated because I've been around X-rated people a lot. So, so I'm okay with it. You guys are just funny.
Being around X-rated people's how you got the COVID.
Yep.
I have to tell you-
Probably. It wasn't my fault. She was a hot, chubby blonde. Anyway.
Jasper in our chat says a hot tub seems to be effective.
Yes.
However, a dry finger in the vagina ain't foreplay.
No, it is not.
No, you shouldn't do that at all. First of all, you should never, ever put a dry finger in a woman's vagina. Oh, sorry, my dog has decided to love me. Okay. Anyway, there's no such thing as putting a dry finger in a woman. Okay, if you do that, she ought to smack you in the face. So that's one thing a man should never ever ever do.
Good
You always
answer.
should give a woman respect.
So, Toxie, what's foreplay for you? What gets you in the mood besides tacos?
We already covered that. Checking the batteries on the, on the
Wow.
toys. We already discussed that.
All right.
But we didn't discuss it on the air.
I'm
Which
getting
is
an
the whole
education
point
from
of
all
having
of
the
you.
show.
You guys are giving me an education. I'm learning.
That's the whole point of this show.
Apparently so. I've completely forgotten how the show worked.
So you've been thinking about it, and now you've heard our opinion, Sierra. What do you think?
So, making out will do it for me, but not like aggressive making out. Um, I don't know. There's this image in my head that I see and I don't know how to articulate it. And I especially don't know how to articulate it to my partners who are both like just always ready to down. You know what I mean? Um, and I don't know how to be like, I don't even know how to explain what it is I want or need.
You share that with them. I mean, it's a matter of depending on how long you've been with them. It's a matter of saying this is what I like. This is what gets me in the mood. It's not always about men. Men have a tendency to think it's always about them. My need, my need, my need, my need, my need. It's not about us. It's almost like being with a woman that can be submissive. Just because you're submissive does not mean you're a doormat. Just because you want to have sex with a man does not mean that he shouldn't value your body and want to know what your body likes and what your body's going to react to. If it's all about, hey, let me put my dry finger up your vagina, that's not being a man. That's just being a guy who doesn't give a fuck about you. A real man is gonna experiment. He's gonna touch your shoulders. He's gonna touch your face. He's gonna touch your toes. He may decide to suck your toes.
No, no,
Uh,
that will automatically disqualify him.
So I know
I
a little
literally
bit.
leaned to the side and said to my boyfriend, "Please don't suck my toes."
So I know a little bit
That's a
about
no for me.
the kinds of things that you
Well,
want, Sierra. And you have to remember that foreplay is everything before intercourse, right? So all the things, all the interests that you have could be considered foreplay as long as they don't involve the actual intercourse. So like that one picture that you sent us with the sewing, I mean, holy crap, that's not my kind of foreplay, but definitely foreplay for you.
Well, see, and so here's the thing, like there are portions of that are not foreplay for me either. They're not even sexual at all. So like the needle play, that's not sexual for me whatsoever. That's more of like, I mean, that's just like e- e- extreme relaxation techniques. I don't. What's that, acupuncture? And so a lot of those scene and lifestyle things for me are not necessarily sexual. They're mental more than anything. And
So maybe
and so like I know that there, and so here's the weird part, like sometimes it is, but most of the time it's not. And I don't know how to predict when that is going to be sexual and when it's not for me until I'm in the moment. And like I said, like I mentioned earlier, I work way too much. I used to work two jobs, and I work way too much now. And I'm just so tired all the time. It's almost like I do want to be sexual with my partners, but I don't. Not because I don't find them sexually attractive whatsoever, but because, oh my God, it's so much work. Do you know what I
sounds
mean?
like to me, you should have two columns on your foreplay list. One would be get me in the mood right now, which are things that will automatically make you wet and then you want to bang. And the second list would be slow roll
That's
foreplay,
right.
which is stuff
And
that
that's
can
important.
stretch out over a length of time.
But see, that's what's important. From a man's standpoint, if he knows your body, he's going to be able to do balance both of them out. There are going to be moments where he just wants to bend you over the kitchen table, and there are moments when he wants to slowly bend you over the kitchen table by touching you and wait or making. I think dinner can be a form of foreplay if he's making you dinner and being very erotic about it. So it's not necessarily physical touch as much as it's mental foreplay. Because if he's having mental foreplay and he's touching your headspace, you know. But then there's other physical things like spankings and stuff like that that can get a person into the mood. You know.
Maybe I just need to smoke more weed.
And then, of course, there's the
That
age-old.
can have the opposite effect.
Of course, there's the age-old. Let me show you what I like.
Mm-hmm.
And
Sure.
then they can do it to you after you've done it to them.
And if I knew what I liked, that would work.
Here's the thing about that is that some men, not me specifically, some men at this when they get older, they don't want you to show them. They want to be like, please, I got this. I know what I'm doing to your body. You don't need to tell me shit. I know what I'm doing. And they don't want to take the time to know a woman's body or want to know what she likes or doesn't like because it's always, like I said earlier, it's always about them. It's about, I know what I'm doing. My sex game is 100% and I'm going to do this, whether you like it or not. You know?
Yeah, and I think that's where I have a lot of problem is because sex became a routine in my last relationship where I could give you a minute by minute play by play of every single sexual session we had the last 4 or 5 years we were together, and it was exactly the same. And if I asked for different things, they might be given. And so I know that a lot of what I've got is I'm still sort of gun shy. I'm still sort of like, okay, we're going to end up doing all the same things, or I'm going to have to do all the same things, and it's going to be the same, and it's going to be the same, and it's going to be the same, and I don't want it to be the same. And one of the problems that I have is, like I said earlier, articulating what the difference is that I need. And I think that's what I need to figure the fuck out. Like, I know what foreplay is. It's kissing, it's touching, it's getting each other hot. Maybe it's feeding each other food, maybe it's talking dirty talk. But when I think about those things that would make me in the mood, I'm completely blank on that list. It's like, here's a list, right? All the things that get you horny, and I'd be like, Henry Cavill building a gaming PC? That's about all I got right now.
Wet fingers in the vagina usually work.
But that's straight to sex for me.
See that I don't consider that sex.
See, well, because so the way I have sex with my female partners is different from the way I have sex with my male partners, and so there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't think of as sex that are actual sexual acts between partners, and for me, that all kind of crosses over and goes in one big lump sum. Like, if the things I would do with my girlfriend that are sexual are things that I would do with my boyfriend that are sexual. Like, I really don't delineate the two. The only thing my girlfriend can't do is put her own dick inside me, except she can because she has a strap on. So there's nothing they can't do. It's the same. Fingers in my vagina is sex with my girlfriend.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I'm just fucked up in the head.
I'm just learning.
I'll
I
have to
will
remember
say this. If a man doesn't know what he's doing, he shouldn't be touching anyone. That's just me. You know, if you don't know what foreplay is by now as a man, then you might as well just stop having sex and go to deep dark Africa and become a priest or something, because you have to know what you're doing. You have to learn that woman's body to a point where she knows when you walk in a room, that's foreplay to her.
So let me segue to another subject, but you guys can turn it down if you want, because it's actually kind of negative or dark, as it were. I wanted to talk about incel just a little bit. We talked about this a couple shows ago. Do you guys want to discuss that or not?
Yeah, involuntary celibates, and they're angry about it because they think that the reason they can't get laid is because of women. Well, let me tell you, you're 100% correct. You are also 100% wrong. The reason women don't want to fuck you is because you are unfuckable with that attitude.
So, in the news just recently, a judge was targeted, and a guy showed up at her house. A female Latina judge was targeted, and a guy showed up at her house, shot her husband, And when the gunshot rang out, her son came to the door and he also got shot and he got killed. And they found the perpetrator dead in his apartment. They believe it was self-inflicted. And so much social media and stuff on his laptop that showed that he was, if not an incel, at least directly related to anti-feminism, misogynistic
No,
incel behavior.
it does not link him to. He proudly advertised himself as an anti-feminist attorney.
Yeah.
So he was an
Right.
attorney who had to bring a case before this judge like a month or two ago or whatever. It probably didn't work out the way he wanted it to. But he billed himself. There are still human fucking beings out there. He billed himself as an anti-feminist attorney. So I that blew my fucking
He
mind.
would sue companies. He would sue companies, bars that had ladies' night. He would sue universities that had a women's study program.
Yep.
He was another one that he just had to step away from and pass on because he found out he had terminal cancer. So
Right.
he just passed off one of his big cases, but she was the judge, if I'm not mistaken, on that case.
There's also a story out today that he may be that he killed somebody else in California a week or so ago, and that the FBI is investigating to see if the cases are related. You know, I think he just. I mean, whether he was anti-feminist or not, that's a mental health. That's a person that no one reached out to say, hey, we see what you're writing on Instagram or Facebook or any of the other social media sites, and it's horrible that he was allowed to continue what he was doing to a point where this is the end game for him.
I think at the point, if you file a lawsuit against the bar for having a ladies' night, if you don't recognize the anti-feminist, misogynistic behavior, then I don't know. Anyway,
There's literally no fixing people like that. Like, we can talk about someone should have reached out, someone should have talked to them, maybe they could have been educated, except that when you become a professional and you proudly advertise yourself as a professional bigot, because that's what he was doing. There's at no point where any sort of intervention or education or talking to or meeting the right people would have fixed him. And as far as his social media goes, you can guarantee that he does the same thing that you and I do, Alexia, where we get rid of all the people on our social media that we don't want, whose opinions we don't really fucking agree with because we don't want to talk to them, because we have no interest in arguing with them. And I'm 100% certain he probably did that. If we went and were able to log into his social media, you would see that it's full of other incel, anti-feminist, misogynistic, Sharia law fucking motherfuckers. Like, that's what it would look like. And there's nothing we can do about that. There's nothing we can do to fix that in these people, because at some point there is no educating them if they're not open to it. You could be the conscientious educator, which I've talked about before, where you kindly and conscientiously correct people, try to educate them on their behavior, actually them, but in the good way. But there's just some people you just will never reach, ever. And that
those are the
sucks.
folks that are going down the rabbit hole. Those are the guys who are going down the rabbit hole every day. And there's nothing that we can do. I wish we could, and I try to help those folks too, because I deal with mental health every day with people. But when they're that far gone, like you mentioned with this gentleman, you're right. Maybe there's no one out there, but I wish there was. I wish that so someone's son is not killed because he's so far gone. But it's just like any of these serial killers. I mean, or killer guys who they wake up one day and they're killing all sorts of people, and people say, "What happened? What happened?" I saw his social media. He said all these rotten things. Well, those are the folks we need to reach out to.
So one of the things that I did today after hearing that story and then reading about it, because I actually have a lot of male friends who are involuntary celibate, but I don't think I would consider them incels because their behavior doesn't match that of the ones that have committed crime.
No,
So
you.
I went and looked up what are some characteristic traits of incels. So I have a list. First is they're very resentful. They often self-pity. They can be racists, definitely misogynistic, misanthropy. They don't want to be around anybody at all and have a little bit of narcissism. They believe they are entitled to sex. They're idle. They don't like to do things. They don't take care of business. They're lonely and unhappy. Maybe have a tendency towards suicide. May use sexual surrogates, and believes that their desirability or anybody's desirability is about their income or looks. And then there was one other thing that almost all the experts agreed on is that they have poor grooming.
So I've seen, like, this attorney wasn't terrible looking and didn't have poor grooming or any of the rest of that shit. Um, I, there are some of those categories that definitely all incels fall into. One of them is definitely they believe that sexual attraction is based on looks and money. Um, and the thing that's the one that really pisses me off the most is when guys are like, well, no girl wants a guy who looks like me. And I'm like, no girl wants a guy who acts like you. Or they're like, oh, no girl wants to get with a guy because I don't make $1,000,000. And I'm like, I would like to direct you to the trailer park around the outside. And I'd like you to look at all of those low income people, some pretty fine ass looking people up in that trailer park, and they all are happy and fucking. And there are some ugly ass people making low income, and they're all happy and fucking. It's not. They have this idea in their head that they're not fuckable, or they're not fuckable because women are wrong. Like, that's their thing. It's not that I'm too ugly, it's that women think I'm too ugly. And it's so hard to get it through their heads. It's like, I will fuck a bitch who fell down the ugly tree, hit every goddamn ugly branch on the way down, ran through the ugly forest, running into all the goddamn ugly trees, and then get beat by the ugly stick on the way out. But if he can make me laugh, and he's got a good attitude, and we have a lot of other things in common, I'm probably gonna fuck his ugly ass anyway. Like, I don't. Never mind. All my guys I've been with are handsome. So, but I would still fuck an ugly guy if he had all the right other markers. Like, I get that there has to be, like, everyone says, oh, there's got to be an immediate physical attraction, but there doesn't. There doesn't have to be an immediate physical attraction. That attraction can evolve over time, and that doesn't mean that you get to be, like a friend forever or friend zone till she thinks I'm hot. But it does mean that have fucking conversation with her. If it's someone you're interested in dating, have a fucking conversation with her. But make sure she knows I'm speaking to you because I think you're attractive, I like you, and eventually I would like to start something with you. Don't try to be like, oh no, girl, we just friends, and then later be like, well, I'm a nice guy, why won't you fuck me? Bitch, I was gonna say I don't fuck my friends, but that's not true either. I'm a very interesting case. But incels, they drive me fucking bonkers because they blame everyone else but themselves. And that is the one category they do all fall into. They
They
blame.
don't want to look at themselves. They're angry.
Yeah, it's called involuntary, as if they didn't have some control over it. You do. Be a
So,
nice fucking person.
so one of the most interesting facts that I learned in my research today was that the involuntary celibate groups started from a woman whose name was Alana, who was not dating anyone at the time. And this was early 90s in college. And she started a chat group called Alana's Involuntary Celibacy Project.
Okay.
And then and it was the community, the online forum was a community that anybody could join, male or female, where they could talk about what they could do to get dates or what they needed to do with themselves or talk whatever. And it was a benign place to begin with, and then it started to fracture into the angry people and the people who were still trying, I guess, and they split off, and then she just left the community entirely in 2000.
And that's the problem, is that there's the incels that make me angry, and then there's the incels who are just not getting laid for
Yeah.
whatever reason. A lot of it is maybe not necessarily lack of trying. I never want to tell anyone that they shouldn't aim for what it is they want. But let's get real here, folks. Henry Cavill and I are never going to have a sexual experience. Vin Diesel and I are never going to have a sexual experience. The guy that I saw at Costco, whose ass was so goddamn tight I could have bounced a whole goddamn watermelon off of it, he and I are never going to have a sexual relationship. Oh, good God, and the guns on this motherfucker. We're not in the same sphere. And if our spheres don't Venn diagram at some point or another, we're probably not going to fuck. And that's what a lot of these incels are having a fucking problem with, is they're trying to fuck someone whose sphere does not Venn diagram with theirs. It's like, you've got to have some connections there besides, I think you're hot. If he or she is so far fucking out of your league, like way super far out of your league, and you have nothing in common, there will be no connection. And you need connection to have a romantic relationship. Now, if you just want to fuck, I'm going to tell everybody right now, if you just want to fuck, you need to lower your fucking standards, because you could get fucked anytime, any day, anywhere. Wear a condom, lower your standards, go get fucked. Now, if you want a romantic relationship, you need to get fucking real about shit and start looking for the Venn diagram spheres in your goddamn sphere of influence. That's incels' fucking problems.
And then the last thing I have about sex and penises in general is I saw this tweet. I put it on the Lexia page. But the tweet comes from a K.W. Miller who is running for Congress in Florida. And he posted on his Twitter that most white women join Black Lives Matter to fornicate with black men.
Wow.
I've heard that. Okay.
And
I had a discussion with someone about that.
Yeah, and the tweet that accompanied it came from at Identify Dixie. And she said, imagine black dongs frightening you so much it becomes part of your political platform.
Wow.
That's wee. That's a negative on me.
I've heard that, and I've heard that a lot of white women are joining the protest to meet black men, okay, and to be involved with when they normally would not be in those circles of being around black men. They're hanging out at some of the demonstrations to meet black men to get fucked. Okay, I had this whole conversation the other day about that. I have too much time on my hands, as you probably know. And one of the I laughed about that because I wasn't aware of that, and I've been at the protests, and I have not seen any. If I had known there are tons and tons of white women coming out just to fuck black men, I would have made myself more available. I had no idea.
I want a T-shirt now. I want to get a T-shirt that says "I'm just here for the big black dick." Like,
I'm gonna question my mom going to the next church.
I know. If I had known this, that there were all these women out there, white women saying, I want black dick. And I'd be like, hey, here I am. I'm right here. I'm just walking. I'm protesting, but after I'm done protesting, I got you. But I didn't know that. I had no idea. I have to tell my friends this now. I'm going to tell my friends the next time we protest that, listen, look out for the white women. Okay? And we can be poor. A lot of us are not rich at all. We're not rich black men protesting. We're some poor motherfuckers out there protesting. But now we know that there are white women out there who say, we don't care if you're poor or not, as long as you have black dick. I got you. I'm good now. My night's going to be complete now. If I didn't have Kovo, I'd be out there now. No.
See?
Sierra, how long have we been broadcasting for?
Well, we've been on OBS for 1 hour and 5 minutes now.
Okay, so we should probably close it up.
Well,
Toxie, you've been kind of quiet. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I have a story about Toxie this week. So I opened up my Twitter account, and I posted a tweet. It's the first time in like 3 years I tweeted anything because I'm going to start tweeting some of the texts that I send Toxie. But it came up on my Twitter feed. It was like Princess so and so gets married in secret ceremony in Buckingham Palace, and I was like, who the fuck is this princess? I knew who to text to find out who it was. I texted Toxie, and in 2.2 milliseconds, I had a life story and 4 pictures on my phone from her. She was like, it's Princess blah, 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 and she's the blah, 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 and they're known for the blah, 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 and here's some photos. I was like, girl, you better than the AP. Like, damn. So,
I love the royal family.
I didn't even know she was part of the royal fucking family.
I was disappointed. If there was another wedding, I would have wanted it to hers.
Because I bet there was some fucked up ass hats at that wedding.
It's the hats. It's all about the hats.
Did you have
I
anything
sent
else
you the
wanted
photo too.
Yeah, I know
Did
you
have
sent me the
anything
photo.
you wanted to cover this week, Toxie?
I'm good. I'm good. I will throw out that I received a text that had a meme in it, and it was about food porn, like food BDSM porn. And I thought
It didn't come
I
from me.
thought
You
it
need to
was
send me that.
real. So I went to research it to talk about on the show because I'm like, oh my god, I thought I found this lady who does food BDSM porn category. Turns out it was more of a parody thing for Comedy Central. But there is a lot of when you search for her, turns out there's also a lot of food porn as actual categories on Pornhub. So
There is.
but don't worry, I'll research those more for next.
You need to send me that food porn meme. Surprised you didn't send it to me.
All right.
She's like
you guys
smacking
ready
an eggplant with a crop.
You guys ready to end it then?
Oh, there's one she has. I watched a little video. She had like nipple clips on the end of bananas.
Yeah, I think nipple clips on bananas is a good way to end the show.
Little video.
All right. David, thank you so much for coming on the show and talking with us. If in the next couple of weeks you find out more news and you want to come back on, just let us know. We're more than happy to give you a platform, okay?
Yeah, they're doing a great job. I appreciate all of you. I'm going to have to tune into your show more often. You
Well,
guys
thank you.
are amazing, and I appreciate all of you.
And
Good
every
job,
time
all of
talk
you,
about your
okay?
penis, bring your mom on. It's good.
Yeah.
Listen, we're not putting my mom on, and my penis is 11 and a half by 5. Just want the world to know that. Anyway. Just saying.
All right. 11 and a half by 5.
Oh my God, I'm going to sleep now. You guys have got me in trouble.
I'm
Gosh, darn it.
Alexia.
I'm Sierra.
Foxy.
Thanks,
David,
guys.
Say your name.
I'm David. Thank you. And wear the damn mask.
We'll see you next time.
If you're brave enough.
Later, bitches.
Bye, guys.
Bye.